So if you watched my last video on my search for the Kellerman ghost train railroad that ran from Tuscaloosa to Kellerman, Alabama, you would have seen me riding around in the strip mines of Tuscaloosa County in search of a way down to the old creek bed and to specifically find this old platform that used to house a fantastic old water tower, and this water tower refilled the empty steam locomotives that traveled up and down the 16-mile stretch between Tuscaloosa and Kellerman. So after re-examining my contour map, my very detailed and high-resolution contour map, I grabbed a buddy and we hopped in the truck and rolled down to a section that we could only access by foot, hiked in and found another earthen dam, man-made earthen dam, and crawled down in the woods till we found what turned out to be the old rail bed, and hiked down to the end until it turned into a lake. Look at here. What do you normally call a squared off timber? How about that? We found it.
I see the railroad sign.
That's exactly what that is. Let's get up on the rail bed. What do you say? Actually, it might be easier to go up that way.
Another piece down here.
Yeah, this is. It looks like either they threw the timbers off to the side, or they built this bed up with timbers. I don't know. I don't know.
It had gone through. So this is all elevated in a way that's.
Yeah, this right here, that's recent. That's probably within the last 40 years. That's a dam they built. But we are on the bed. The old rail bed.
This is cool.
Yeah, it is cool, isn't it? You should see what's down towards the river. Unbelievable. You should think about going out there with me.
Yeah, I like this shit.
Well, this is all strip pit, and you know we're surrounded by ugliness except for this stuff right here. But this is the old valley. This train came up. It went up to the road, across the road, and Kellerman is on the other side. Let's see how far this thing goes. It may go for a while. So at the river, I can ride my motorcycle to the first tunnel. I used to, back in the 80s, I've heard it's changed a lot. Back in the 80s, I could ride my motorcycle through the first tunnel, the train tunnel, go out the other side, down across the creek, up a hill into the next tunnel. And I think, I'm trying to remember, it's been so long, I think I could actually get to the third tunnel. Just an amazing, beautiful landscape that runs through this creek and tunnels, and anyway, just beautiful. And it's 2.5 miles up to the place that I'm looking for, which is
That is a clear path all the way up.
Yeah, it's relatively flat too. I was expecting more of an incline.
I wonder if there was this much land erosion on the right.
Yeah, I think this is exactly how it looked back then.
Well, I'm talking about down here too.
Oh, well, this is obviously another dam. I don't think this is another man-made pond.
But you think they dug this out after the
No,
line was decommissioned?
I don't think anything's been done down this far. I think they stopped stripping up there. probably because of regulations, but I don't know. There probably wasn't a lot of regulation back then. I think that was a creek. That is this is the top of Daniel Creek.
Just expanded.
Well, it's a lake. It's a pond or a lake now because they've dammed it up just like they dammed that up there. So all that was. This is a hell of a lake. It goes all the way around the corner of here. Now this is a hell of a find, I think. I was not expecting this at all. But I'd have to show you the maps. But basically, the river. Rail runs alongside the river from Tuscaloosa, coming north, right? At Daniel Creek, this is Daniel Creek. At Daniel Creek, it turns up the creek. The creek does this all the way up to almost all the way up to Kellerman. So what they did is said, well, it's a big deep canyon, so we're going to cut 4 tunnels through, run trestles over the creek. Oh, this is swampy here. I think we found the end of the line here. So it was obvious at this point that the rail bed descends below the surface of what now is a lake, but is actually a man-made lake on Daniel Creek. And just below this point, right around the corner, is the last dam that I was at last week. And funny story, I was lucky enough to get an interview with the gentleman that took so many of the pictures on this rail bed and probably traveled this section a few times as a 14-year-old boy in the late 50s. And I got a chance to spend a few minutes with him talking about the history of this railroad. And he's definitely a railroad guy. He even wrote a book about railroads. But I'll have that interview coming up along with many of his pictures, and I will try to go back and find a more northern section, but I think this is as far as it goes, but I want to rule that section out. Now, if you'll remember the last trip down, I got to a point just above Daniel Creek and pulled the drone out, and I'm looking down the creek, and around the corner should be the platform for that old water tank. And I couldn't figure out how to get down there without falling off of a cliff. But I think I may have found a spot on another topo map that looks like an old road. And there you can see the blue line up to the top and right was the furthest point I could get, overlooking the railroad before. On closer inspection, I can see an old road that goes down just south or just west of the old platform. And hopefully I can get down in the rail bed, maybe get to some tunnels. This may be the easiest way to get down in the more northern section. And hopefully I'll do that within the next week and share the results with you. Maybe we can see something that's left of this monstrosity here, or anything that's left of something like this. Wouldn't that be fantastic? See you next time.